Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for taking the time to check out today's live stream, where, of course, we're going to be going over fiber for today. Give me just a second. I don't know why it completely changed my screen here. All right. Okay. This should be better for you guys to see. So before I do get started with talking about today's topic, I do want to share a few things with you guys today. So, as you guys likely know, I do have a YouTube channel, of course, and what I wanted to share that I'm going to be starting on my YouTube channel is that I will be starting to do lives on here next Thursday. So, starting next Thursday, when you go under the live tab here on my YouTube channel, I already have a scheduled stream up. And in this stream, I'm going to be discussing basically a little bit about what I offer as an online fitness coach. So that's mainly what I'm going to be discussing in this particular stream. And if you're interested in, staying updated on when that live does happen, you can just click the notify me button down here on the bottom left, and it'll let you know when that live is about to start. So again, what I'm going to do in this particular live is really discussing the structure of my online fitness coaching and my whole philosophy with how I approach online fitness coaching. So definitely check that out if there's something that you're interested in. Again, guys, this is my YouTube channel. When you search Brandon Scott Parton on YouTube, you can find my channel. So I have a ton of videos on here. I do share some of my personal experiences along with, of course, my fitness content as well. So definitely check that out if that's something that you're interested in. One thing I do want to share, of course, too, before I do continue on, is that my website is, of course, bponlinefitness.com. So you can check out my website here. You can click the join the team button to be able to, of course, sign up to online fitness coaching. So if that's something that you're interested, feel free to check that out. I am offering 20% off online fitness coaching at least for the rest of this week, and then that offer will end. So, of course, take advantage of that if that's something that you're interested in getting started with. So, I just want to share this again, guys. It's bponlinefitness.com where you can check out all that I have to offer related to online fitness coaching. So, let's go ahead and get started, guys, with talking about our topic for the day, which is going to be going over fiber as the hunger and recovery switch. So, let me get this stream pulled up and this presentation ready to go. So, with this particular discussion, we're going to be going over, of course, primarily fiber as the sort of main focus in this stream. However, I am going to be discussing other points when it comes to nutrition as it relates to this topic. So, fiber is a crucial part of any, of course, nutrition and workout routine. So keep in mind that when we're talking about fiber, you still have to think about all of your other nutrients that are involved with fiber as well. So what I want to discuss in this particular stream is to go over a few different points. So these are all the topics that I'm going to be going over today in this stream. So we're going to go over, of course, fiber one-on-one without the boring part. So we're going to basically dive into what fiber is, the difference between soluble versus insoluble fiber, and why both are going to matter for lifters. We're going to go over the hunger break system on how fiber increases fullness, volume, slower digestion, and basically helping with that, those satiating hormones and reduces snack hunting. Blood sugar equal to cravings control, so high fiber smooth glucose spikes and prevents energy crashes that lead to cravings. Gut health, recovery health, how fiber feeds your microbiome and supports nutrient absorption and inflammation management, as well as fiber timing for training days, fiber in a surplus versus a cut, and the Color Crunch checklist, which is sort of a quick sort of rehash of what I discussed in a previous stream if you haven't checked that out. So that's all of what we're going to sort of be discussing here today in this particular stream. So definitely take notes from this, make use of this. Again, all of these topics that I discuss are very tangible and very, of course, usable for your routine. This is all very valuable stuff that you can make use of and that you can make the most of in order to reach your goal. So, as we're getting started, the first point, of course, we're going to go over is fiber 101. And I'm just going to sort of touch on the basics of fiber itself. So, what is fiber in itself? It's a type of carbohydrate in your body that can't fully digest. So, fiber is usually found in plants, which is, of course, your vegetables, your fruits, your legumes, your whole grains, nuts, and seeds. So, this feeds your gut microbiome when it comes to fiber. So, just know that fiber in itself is, of course, a carbohydrate. Now, fiber is basically classified in two different ways. There's basically two types of fibers that you need to be aware of. There is soluble and insoluble fiber. So soluble fiber dissolves in water and forms as a gel. It has a more slow digestion in the body, and it's also going to help stabilize your overall blood sugar. An example of your soluble fibers is oats, beans, chia seeds, and berries. Insoluble fiber is going to add bulk to your stool, so this supports regularity, helps you feel full via stomach stretch. And an example of these, of course, is your leafy greens, your broccoli, and your whole grains. So these types of fiber are, of course, going to really, regulate your system more and of course help with, overall digestion in a lot of ways. So this is the basics of what you need to know. Again, keep in mind that fiber is a carbohydrate. It just doesn't fully digest or it can't fully digest in the body. So the next point I want to go over is the hunger break system. So the hunger break system is a structured way to separate true hunger from emotional or habitual eating by inserting a controlled break before you eat. So instead of reacting to your cravings, you can pause and assess and respond intentionally. So basically, what we're talking about here before I go further is we're really thinking about taking a step back on how and when we should eat. Is this, am I eating because I'm hungry, or am I eating because it is more of a habitual and sort of a, you know, a common sort of time on when I eat, or it's become something again that I just feel like eating, in other words, that it's not a hunger-based thing, that it's more emotional. So you need to understand the difference between those two. So, when meals digest too quickly, this is going to lead to blood sugar spikes, crashes, and cravings and increase. So, when meals include fiber, protein, digestion slows, energy stabilizes, and hunger becomes predictable. So, stable signals are going to lead to better decisions. So, the decisions you make when it comes to how you approach, the foods that you eat and how you approach, you know, when is the best time or when's the best time to eat, you need to really think about that. So, again, focus on really taking a step back before you go into meals and really think about, is this, am I just going to eat this just because, or is this a way, is this aiding in my growth, in my progression, in my routine? So you kind of have to think about it in that context as well. So, what you need to think about again is including meals that are going to really aid in that proper digestion in the body. And of course, when you focus on taking a step back, you're going to think more about the quality of the nutrients that you're intaking in your body. So the next point I want to go over, of course, is known as, give me just a second, is the blood sugar and cravings control. So why blood sugar matters. So this is still in connection, of course, to your overall, approach when it comes to fiber. So why blood sugar matters. So when you have sharp spikes, this is going to lead to energy crashes and stronger cravings. So low blood sugar itself is going to increase your hunger hormones and impulsive eating. So stable glucose is going to support consistent training energy. So a balanced blood sugar is going to improve recovery and your mood regulation. So nutrition strategies that can really help when it comes to, the blood sugar side of things. You want to anchor meals with protein first. And I've discussed this time and time again when it comes to, our overall meals and how we build out our meals, such as the Color Crunch sort of, live stream that I did. And when we focus on building out, balanced meals, a lot of times we want to focus on our protein as being the main anchor. And of course, lean protein is what we want to think about. When we think about grilled chicken, any kind of lean meat that we're sort of including as the main sort of portion of our meal is going to help. And then from there, we're going to add, again, like what I mentioned before, we're going to add more of that color. We're going to add those carbs. We're going to add those, healthy fats in there as well. So add fiber-rich carbs, which will be your vegetables, your oats, your beans, and your fruit. Include healthy fats to slow digestion. Again, healthy fats are going to be avocados, olive oil, and things of that nature. So any of those healthy fats that you include, and then of course you could think of like nuts and seeds, there are going to be healthy fats in those as well. So think about those sort of options to include, again, to create a more balanced nutrition. So gut health equals recovery health. So again, like with fiber, fiber is a big thing when it comes to our digestion. Of course, we always think about that when it comes to fiber. So when we think about that as well, we do need to think about our gut health and our, which is going to lead to better recovery as well. So nutrient absorption is going to really drive muscle repair. So protein, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals must be properly absorbed to support muscle rebuilding. So a healthy gut is going to improve how efficiently your body is going to use that food after training. So, like what I mentioned, when it comes to what we eat post workout, generally we want to really focus, of course, on our protein intake, but we also need to make sure that we combine more of those other nutrients so that this is helping with our body and being able to repair more efficiently. We don't have the proper sort of nutrients in our body, that after that post workout or during that post workout period, that's going to, of course, really obstruct, how we recover in our workouts. So the gut health, of course, the gut helps, excuse me, control inflammation. So training creates a controlled stress and inflammation. Of course, in our workouts, we're going to go through a certain form of stress and inflammation in those workouts. But a balanced gut bacteria can help regulate that inflammation so recovery can happen faster and more efficiently. So, again, going into our nutrition, how we approach our nutrition is really going to help in our overall, recovery process. So energy stability is going to support performance recovery. So healthy digestion is going to help stabilize our blood sugar, basically what we had mentioned in that previous slide, and energy levels. So stable energy is going to reduce fatigue and improve readiness for the next workout. So our energy levels are extremely important in how we approach, the future of, our program or the future of our workouts, I should say, and how we press forward in our overall structure and our routine. So, of course, think about the nutrients that you're including. Of course, those protein, amino acids, vitamins, minerals. Keep all of those in mind when you're focusing on, your post-workout recovery. So fiber timing for your training days. It's important to sort of be aware on when you need to time your fiber to really make that sort of intake be efficient in your overall progression with your workouts. Like I've mentioned time and time again, your nutrition must coincide with your workouts in order for you to get, the maximum amount of results. So for pre-workout, you want to focus on moderate fiber or of course stable energy. So small to moderate fiber intake is going to help slow digestion and is going to stabilize your blood sugar. This is going to at the same time prevent energy crashes before training. An example, of course, would be your oats with fruit, whole grain toast, or yogurt with berries. So generally for pre-workout, you want to have this roughly 2 to 3 hours before you go into your workout. Now, when you're getting close to training, you want to keep your fiber as low as possible. So, too much fiber right before workouts can slow digestion and cause discomfort. This is a big thing too with me, or when it comes to, before I train, if I have anything, right before I train, like usually I'll have, a lot amount of carbs, not a huge meal before I train, because you're just going to feel, really I guess, in other words, sort of like a bloated top feeling if you eat so soon before your training. So make sure you give yourself a little bit of buffer time, before you go into training if you're going to eat something beforehand. So prioritize easily digestible carbs and protein within 60 to 90 minutes of training. For your post-workout, you want to reintroduce fiber for recovery. So you're going to add fiber after training to help regulate appetite and support that nutrient absorption in the body. So pair protein, carbs, and vegetables or whole foods for those recovery meals. So you want to think about that as well. So it's all about creating a balance in how you approach your fiber intake, whether that be pre-workout, right before workout, and post-workout. To summarize all of this, of course, all together, for pre-workout, you just want to have that moderate fiber intake. Again, whole grain oats, yogurt, Greek yogurt can be a great option as well. Close to training, you want to focus on a lower fiber intake. Don't have an excessive amount of fiber right before training. Post-workout, we want to introduce more fiber. So again, in those meals, that we, consume post-workout, your carbs, your proteins, and your vegetables. So fiber in a surplus versus a cut. So if you've heard the term bulking or cutting, that's what we're basically talking about here. So a caloric surplus is basically, of course, known as a bulk. In other words, it's a common term for a bulk. Whereas, of course, a cut is, of course, your calorie deficit or you're consuming less calories. So when you're in a cut, again, this is primarily focusing on fat loss. What you want to think about is fiber equaling hunger control as well as an adherence tool. So what this does is this turns down hunger by adding volume and slowing digestion. It's going to stabilize cravings by smoothing energy and blood sugar swings. So your go-to foods if you're in a cut is going to be your veggies, your berries, your oats, your beans, lentils, chia, and flax seeds. So that's what you want to really think about. Aim for higher fiber to make lower calories feel doable. Now, when you're in a surplus, and again, in a surplus means that we're focusing on muscle gain. Fiber needs to equal digestion support and quality control. So keep, of course, support gut health so you absorb nutrients well and recovery better. So you want to focus on fibers that's going to really support that gut health, as your focus. Keep appetite, what it does as well as keeps appetite predictable, prevents dirty bulk chaos. And what it means by dirty bulk, or, the term dirty bulk itself, is basically when you're just consuming calories without thinking of their nutrient quality. So you're not really thinking about the types of calories you're consuming or the types of nutrients you're consuming. You're just consuming any type of food, no matter what kind of, nutrition value it is. And that's what's known as a dirty bulk. So you don't want to focus on that. Even when you're bulking, you really want to think about how you approach your calorie intake and how you approach your macro intake, which again, your macros are your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. So again, we want to avoid dirty bulking. We want to be mindful on our calorie intake and the nutrients that we're consuming. So the go-to foods you need to think about for a surplus is your rice, veggies, oats, fruits, potatoes, salad, yogurt, and berries. So that's sort of your difference here when it comes to focusing on a surplus. So aim for enough fiber for digestion and health without killing your appetite when it comes to an overall, calorie surplus or a bulk phase. So the color crunch checklist. I want to go over this point again, even though I did kind of touch on it before and I sort of rehashed it a few slides ago. But this is really crucial to understand because when we focus on how we approach our plate, and having a balanced plate, this is going to give us all the nutrients we need, including that, proper fiber intake. So for color, you want to aim to 3 to 4 colors per day. So pick at least 3 of these daily. So your red and pink, orange and yellow, green, blue and purple, white and brown. So these are the kind of sort of foods that you want to include when it comes to color. Berries, tomatoes, peppers, citrus, carrots, squash, spinach, broccoli, avocado, blueberries, purple grapes, cabbage, mushrooms, onions, oats, and potatoes. Have those at least 3 to 5 different colors per day. Now for crunch, you want to aim to 1 to 2 crunch choices per day. This is your raw veggies, carrots, cucumbers, peppers, apples, pears, your nuts and your seeds, high fiber cereal or granola, roasted chickpeas or endemia. So greater focus should be on, of course, sustainable eating. So 1 to 2 of these choices are going to be great, of course. And again, when you include, these options in there, your fiber intake is going to be in there. So like I mentioned, carbohydrates are going to be where you're going to get that fiber intake from. So again, think about your quality carbs that you're including. But when you have a balance of these, options on your plate, it's really going to help in your workout recovery and how you get, you know, to be able to efficiently reach your overall goal. Alrighty, guys. So I want to thank you for taking the time to check out today's live stream. Again, like I mentioned, guys, I am going to be changing up a little bit of the streams that I'm going to be doing. Of course, this stream is still going to stay the same. So every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will continue to do these Facebook live streams. But I'm working on trying to branch out to get some of my information to other places because for some reason with Facebook, my views have not been as great. So I'm working on trying to, again, try to find other live stream options where I can make use of this because I really feel like these streams are very valuable. And I feel like a lot of people could take from this if I could just get the exposure out there for these streams. So again, what I'm going to do is starting again next week at on Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a YouTube live. Now, I did do YouTube lives before around 3 years ago, but that was around the time I was sort of getting started. So I've been doing live streams for quite a while and I've kind of gotten adjusted to, the structure of how I do them. So I want to restart doing YouTube lives. But what I'm going to start with in the first YouTube live is again going over a little bit about how I approach online fitness coaching. So I want this to be sort of a starter, sort of live stream where anybody can join and it can really give you insight on what I focus on when it comes to my online fitness training. So definitely check that out. That'll be next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, guys, I will also be doing TikToks, of course, every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I don't know what it is, my view count has been a little bit lower over the past week, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. But we're gonna continue to stay consistent with it and to stay focused on it. So definitely check those TikTok live streams out every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, next Wednesday, I will have another stream just like this at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I will archive any of these streams that I have here on Facebook. So these will be uploaded to YouTube and you can view them. Another thing, too, that I want to mention My YouTube lives will start next Thursday. I was going to start it tomorrow, but I felt like it would be appropriate if I took some time to sort of prepare my presentation a little bit better and, be ready to share some good information with you guys because I really want it to be as valuable as possible. And I don't want to just rush into doing the stream right away, even though I would love to. I just really want to focus on getting everything together so I can give you guys valuable information that you can make use of. So check that out next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys have any questions on anything that I've discussed, feel free to reach out and let me know. I'm willing to answer any of those questions you have. Again, these streams are a way for you to, make the most of the information and the value that I have to offer. So definitely, of course, take advantage of what I'm giving you. And of course, guys, if you want to learn more about online fitness coaching, you can visit my website, bponlinefitness.com. But thank you guys once again for taking the time to check this stream out. I hope that you found this helpful and valuable. And I will see you guys next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time in the next live stream here on Facebook. So thank you guys once again for watching.